Welcome back to The Explainer. Today, we're digging into a really fascinating thesis from Juno AI. It frames Optimism's Superchain as something much bigger than just a piece of tech. It's more like the architectural plan for a brand new digital city-state. So, right off the bat, you've got to get this one thing straight. This isn't just about making transactions faster. Not at all. It's about economics. It's about network effects. The real play here isn't the code itself. It's the massive interconnected network that gets built on top of that code.
All right, let's dive into the blueprint. What exactly is the superchain? And, what are the big, hairy problems it's actually trying to solve?
This slide nails the contrast between the old way and the new vision. Think about it. In the past, launching new blockchains created all these isolated digital islands. They were fragmented, risky to travel between, and super expensive to build on. The superchain's goal? To connect all of them into one single unified continent, where things like security and infrastructure are basically shared public utilities.
And these four pillars you see here, these are pretty much the foundational laws of this new digital metropolis. You've got Ethereum as the ultimate source of truth, a single secure bridge for everyone, a common communication system, and this same open source toolkit. This means every district in the city plays by the same rules, which makes the entire network incredibly strong and cohesive.
So if that's the blueprint, what about the building materials? Every city needs a standardized construction kit, right? An engine room. For the superchain, that's the OP stack.
The way this is designed with all these different layers is the secret to its adaptability. You can think of it like a modern skyscraper. You can go in and upgrade the plumbing or the electrical systems on one floor without having to tear down the entire building. It's what ensures the superchain can evolve and plug in new tech down the road.
Now this was an absolutely brilliant strategic move. Instead of inventing some new custom coding language and forcing developers to learn it, Optimism just made their system compatible with what everyone already knows, the Ethereum virtual machine. It's kind of like building a brand new city, but making sure all the road signs and power outlets are instantly familiar to everybody who moves in. It just removes all the friction.
Obviously, a city with billions of dollars flowing through it needs a really robust legal and security system. So let's get into the laws and politics that govern this digital society and, keep it safe.
What's happening here is the city is slowly, deliberately removing its central planners. That launch of permissionless fault proofs on June 10th, that was a huge milestone. It officially moved the system from what they call stage 0 to stage 1. And for the first time, it gave any citizen the power to mathematically prove that a rule was broken and challenge the state's actions.
And this number, well, this shows you the cost of justice. While anyone can be a watchdog, the system needs to prevent spam. So, to see a full fraud challenge all the way through to the end, you'd need to post bonds that could total up to 691 ETH. It's a steep price for sure, but it ensures only serious claims are brought to the court. This really highlights a very conscious trade-off they're making. It's not pure decentralization, not yet. This Guardian Council is basically a final safety switch. And while some purists might not love it, this cautious, safety-first approach is exactly the kind of feature that makes big, risk-averse institutions like Coinbase feel comfortable enough to build inside the city walls. Okay, on to the lifeblood of any city, its economy. So how does this whole thing sustain itself? Let's look at the self-reinforcing cycle that funds its growth and keeps attracting new citizens. It all creates this incredible economic flywheel. The businesses, so the individual chains, they pay taxes from the fees they collect for ordering transactions. Those taxes go into a fund for public works, things like developer tools and better infrastructure. This makes the city a better place to build, which attracts new businesses and citizens, who then generate even more tax revenue, and the cycle just keeps going.
And the tax code? It's beautifully simple. Every single chain that operates in the superchain contributes to the collective treasury based on this one standardized formula. It's just a clean, transparent deal that makes sure everyone who benefits from the city is also investing in its future. So by making the OP stack open source and super easy to use, Optimism pulled off this Trojan Horse strategy. They convinced giants like Coinbase, Binance, and even Sony to build their own districts inside the superchain. I mean, it's genius. They basically outsourced the massive task of growing the ecosystem to partners who already have enormous resources and huge user bases.
Of course, no city exists in a vacuum.
So let's put the Superchain in context with its competition and take a look at the challenges that are definitely waiting on the horizon.
When you look at the landscape, you can really see the different philosophies at work. The Superchain is betting big on a unified collaborative network. That's a real contrast to Arbitrum, which focuses more on independent, sovereign chains. And then you have the ZK rollups, which are on a fundamentally different technological path altogether, often trading today's ease of use for what they see as better long-term security.
But look, the city's future is anything but guaranteed. It is facing some major architectural challenges. Things like decentralizing its core transaction processor, the sequencer, fending off those tech rivals, and just keeping its citizens engaged enough to participate in governance. These are not small problems.
And that really brings us to the final question. The success of this whole digital city-state experiment hangs on whether it can actually solve these very real, very difficult problems. If it can, well, then it might just prove to be a whole lot more than just another blockchain project. It could truly be the blueprint for a new kind of digital society.